All right, welcome to the Culture Impact Team's Church for All Nations, Districts 11 and 49 School Board Forum. My name is Ken Davis. I will be your host with the most tonight. So we're going to run through letting you know all of our candidates. And if you are unsure of what district they're in, I will also mention that. Of course, if they are in District 49, there's also a director district that they are seeking to represent. Okay? All right, first is Jamie Lynn from District 49. She is running for Director District number 1. Tammy Harold, also District 49, Director District 4. Elmer Harris, Director District 5. Fidel Lee, Director District 1. Ivy Lou, Director District 4, and Lori Thompson, Director District 5. For District 11, we have Sandra Banks. Thank you, Bankus. See, I should have asked about last names. John Gustafson, Lauren Nelson, and Albert Loma. Please give them a hand. It's amazing to have people who are willing to sacrifice their time and energy to want to serve our children. So they definitely deserve the hand they received. And so I'm going to go over the rules really quick. So our first section will be a lightning round. Okay, the way that will look, if you would respond yes, you will raise your hand. If you would respond no, you will keep your hand down. There's going to be 3 subjects that will be raised during that. Hand up if you agree, hand down if no. Cool? All right, and then we will go into opening statements. Each candidate will be given a minute and a half during opening statements, and then we'll go into Q&A. So let me just really quick, I know there are some people in here who've been to maybe some of our other school board forums in the past, and we've always allowed kind of an open Q&A time. We're not, due to time constraints, we are not going to be able to do that. So all the questions posed will come directly from the Culture Impact Team. If there is additional questions you'd like to ask a particular candidate, when they're done here, they are all set up at a table outside. You'll have the opportunity to go out and speak with them individually. Is that okay? Well, if it's not okay, too bad. So that's what we're doing. That's how this is going to go. And so during the Q&A, we're going to do this as random. It will be like a lottery. And so each candidate will be given 2 questions randomly. One of those questions will be a policy question, and one of those questions will be a character question. They will each have 2 minutes to answer each question. Again, this is random. If there's any concern here, the only questions that they have prior knowledge about are the policy questions. The character questions are completely unknown to the candidates, and so I think they're as prepared as they possibly can be with me throwing curveballs. So the other thing is during the Q&A, because you're given 2 minutes, if there is a question that was asked prior to your question that you want to take a few moments to maybe elaborate on, you will have that opportunity, but understand it will still remain within the 2 minutes to answer the question that you were actually asked. We're good to go? All right. So lightning round. Thank you. Everyone give Vanna a hand. All right, lightning round, hand up if yes, hand down if no. Do you support mask mandates? Do you support vaccine mandates? Do you support critical race theory? That lightning round went lightning quick. And so now we're going to give them an opportunity. There are mics in front of you. And so you have 1.5 minutes. Your timekeeper is directly in front of you. 1.5 minutes for opening statements. And we will begin with Jamie Lynn and move to our left.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lynn DeVola, and I'm a teacher and a mom. And I've been teaching for 13 years at a well-performing school here in Colorado Springs in Harrison District 2. This has a high population of minority students from low socioeconomic backgrounds. One thing that I know is that all students can learn and want to learn. I know that if a student has not learned, the teacher has not taught. All students are individuals of potential and promise, no matter their backgrounds, and it's the teacher's job to cultivate their love of learning and to prove to them that they can be successful. Honestly, I never thought I would ever run for school board. I really did not see myself in this role, as I'm a full-time teacher. However, circumstances and what I have seen happening in our schools and our country has motivated me to become involved for the sake of our children and our future. I have been disheartened by the appalling scores our children have been receiving in the last several years. I am troubled by what schools are teaching and allowing to sneak into our classrooms. Currently, many schools are embracing spending valuable time, energy, and resources on topics such as social justice, critical race theory, gender identity, and comprehensive sex education. If our students are not able to read, write, and do math, why on earth are we teaching things that are quite blatantly go against family values and beliefs? We must stop wasting our children's education on things that many parents would not want their children exposed to. I have a 5-year-old, and it's important that we teach her the right way. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tammy Harold, and I am running for District 49, individual district, District 4. I have been a resident of District 49 for 28 years. I have been active in our schools for 16 years and been on the board prior for 8 years. I have 2 daughters that have gone K through 12 in District 49. They are both now teachers, one in South Korea teaching English and another one in Denver teaching 9th grade English. I'm very proud of their interest and their passion for teaching children. They are my pride and joy. So why I have decided to run again for the school board is when I got off 4 years ago, we had an increase consistently in our achievement, and it has flatlined and then gone down. So I would like for us to get back to that focus that we had then and put those policies and practices back in place to get us on an upward trend again. I think that we have a lot of positive things happening in D49. We need to be promoting those and sharing the achievements of our students and all the positives that can be happening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Elmer Harris, and since this is an unpaid position, my job where I actually get paid on a daily basis is I'm an assistant professor for education at Metropolitan State University, and it's the neatest job in the world because I get to train future teachers. So 1 week I can be working with the students on brain development within infants, and another week I can be teaching future teachers how to teach social studies to 2nd and 3rd grade students. A little bit about me in terms of other things I've done within education. I've been a behavioral interventionist for District 11, special educator, 5th grade teacher. But prior to coming into this current field, I was military, 22 years in Air Force. For me, this is all about service, another call to service, because I think serving the children of others is the ultimate service in which you can do, but also service from the standpoint of having served as a big brother in the Denver area for 4 years, and currently in the process of becoming a CASA, or a court-appointed special advocate for children in El Paso County. So this is not a whim for me. I truly believe in working for and advocating for children. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you this evening.
I have 4 words for you this evening: local control of instruction. According to the Colorado Association of School Boards, unlike most states, the public school system in Colorado grew out of an intentional commitment to local control. In fact, local control in Colorado is not a matter of personal political views, national trends, or public opinion. Rather, local control is a matter of state constitutional law. Tonight, you're going to hear some of our candidates refer to the U.S. Constitution, which is undoubtedly significant, as our main governing school board authority. However, I'm running for a seat on the school board in the state of Colorado. And what other state is more important than the one that we live in, and whose constitution we live under? My fellow Coloradans, tonight you will hear from some candidates in this forum that are going to unapologetically espouse their personal political views about national trends and their public opinion. Historically speaking, School Board District 49 may not have always had a choice. Well, this November you do. I believe that the most effective leaders aren't necessarily ones that have been appointed, but rather the ones that have been elected or called by the people. I'll leave you with this one thought. Out of every 100 men, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80 are just targets. 9 are the real fighters, and we're lucky to have them, for they make the battle. But the one. One is a warrior, and he will bring the others back. This November, District 49, District 1, I will bring us back. Vote for D.L. Lee, November 2nd.
Hello, my name is Ivy Liu. I'm running for District 4 in D49. So I'm a current board member, and as you know, D49 banned CRT as the only district in Colorado to do so. And we removed the mask mandate as of last May and continue to keep it out. So hey, it's my time. Okay, D49 parents, the 3 members of the board and myself fought for this 3-2 vote to get these things passed. It shouldn't be a fight. I'm the only one up for election this time, and I'm asking you for your vote. However, I am asking you to exercise the power of your vote to make D49 a 5-0 board. Because with a 5-0 board, we have one united front, and we can move things forward so much faster on behalf of you stakeholders. Please, news of parents everywhere across the state are fighting their boards, pleading them to listen to them, and just to have the boards turn around and do policies that ignores their concerns and actually infringe on their constitutional rights. That should not be the way it is. D49, vote with the power of your ballot and make our board work for you. Finally, the souls and minds of our children is at stake. So please vote and vote accordingly. Thank you.
My name is Lori Thompson. I'm running for Director District 5. I don't have anything prepared. I'm just going to try to speak from my heart. Why I decided to run is I saw some of what was happening with our schools nationwide. I saw a decrease in testing scores, and I saw an increase in suicide among our young people. My kids are grown now. When my kids were in District 49, I had 2 very different students. I had one that was an honor student and one that was on an IEP, an individualized education plan. So I've experienced both sides of the educational system in D49. I used to joke that when I went into one of my children's parent-teacher conferences, they were happy to see me and tell me what a great job that student was doing. With the other one, I would wait because they would be waiting for me, and there'd be like 4 or 5 there wanting to talk to me. And I have wonderful children. I have 3 stepdaughters. 2 of them are teachers, 2 grandchildren, and we welcomed our first great-grandchild earlier this year, a COVID baby. Anyway, my goal for the school district is I really want to focus on education fundamentals. We have to work on those scores. We have to make District 49 a district of excellence. I don't want our schools to become a petri dish of social experimentation. That's not the job of a public school. The job of a public school is to educate children. So I hope you'll consider me, and I really like our parental choice in District 49.
My name is Sandra Bankus. I'm number 3 on the ballot in District 11. And I want to introduce myself to you because I am a product of public education. I came out of East LA from parents who didn't finish high school. And because of public education, and my philosophy is the door's open and we educate all of our children. That's our job. And what do we educate them to be? Well, to be the best that they can be in learning skills and resilience and confidence so that they can add to the citizenry of this country. America stands for we the people. And you as parents and patrons of the school district have every right to make sure that your schools are teaching the values that you want to see happen in your community. As someone said earlier, we are a local control state, which means by the very votes that you cast, you are sending your vote and your voice and your values to the school board, and we need to be responsive to that. In the districts in which I have worked, and I've worked in 4 here in El Paso County, I've been a principal in 49 and a principal in 20. I managed to gather a team together that boosted scores. In Falcon 49, it was reading scores, and in District 20 at Douglas Valley, it was to take us to the top 8% of elementary schools in the state. Folks, District 11 needs to change direction and move towards educating all of our children.
Hello, and thank you very much for allowing me to come here tonight and to speak with you. My name is John Gustafson, and I love District 11. I'm a blue-collar guy. I've got a wife and 2 little kids. I own my own business, and I live here in the Springs. I'm here tonight because I care about our kids. My oldest boy is in the 1st grade, and he goes to Madison Elementary. I aim to be proud and excited to graduate him and his little sister from a high-achieving D11 high school. And that's why I'm here tonight. When I saw the terrible test scores coming out of our district, I said to myself, something needs to change. When I saw the precipitous decline in student enrollment and understood the existential threat that was to our school district, I said to myself, something has to change. When I saw the district moving in a direction that threatens the very future of our children, I said to myself, something has to change. The current board has had 4 years to clean up this mess, and it's only gotten worse, catastrophically so. Something's got to change. We can change it. We can make things better. We can. Yes, we can. Thank you all very much, you guys.
Hi, I'm Lauren Nelson. I'm a stay-at-home mom. My previous career was as a food scientist in product development. It was a pretty fun job, but I'm not here to talk about that today. You can ask me more later if you want to learn more what a food scientist is. I have 2 kids in a D11 elementary school, and I grew up in Colorado Springs attending kindergarten through 12th grade in D11. I graduated from Palmer. So needless to say, I am invested in this district and want to see the best for the students. This past spring, I identified the application of critical race theory in District 11. I sent the district a letter in June asking questions such as, where did the funding come from to hire a Chicago-based research company to perform an equity audit, and how much did it cost? Where did the money come from to hire a director of equity and inclusion? And she now has an assistant as well. The response that I received from the district did not answer a single question that I asked, and now I have since learned that less than 20% of kids in District 11 are proficient in math in grades 3 through 8, and less than 35% in English language arts. So I want the district to focus on teaching our kids the basics and not focusing on spending time and energy and resources on these sociological, political ideologies. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Al Loma. Who am I? I'm an Army veteran. I am an educator. I've started 3 charter schools, 1 private Christian school, and an early childhood development program. I believe I'm a proven leader. I'm an Hispanic Native American who believes that God has made us all equal. I'm a pastor more first and foremost. I have a church here in town with a drug and alcohol rehab program and a sober living home. I've been reaching at-risk adults for over 35 years. I'm a husband, a father, and a grandfather. That means I'm getting old. And I'm a former D11 board member. I left the board under some circumstances because, when you're the minority, you can do nothing. And I would warn them at that time, we were arguing about bathrooms, which boy and the girl bathrooms. And, I'm kind of old-fashioned. You can figure out where the boy and the girl is once you change the diaper the first time. And so I just got out. I was fed up with it. And from behind the closed doors of executive committees, I've seen the corruption that goes on. They pass out money like it's chocolate. But I could do nothing about it. We need 4 people to make a change. And I would propose to you that these 4 individuals to my right are the people that you need to make a change. I'd hate to win and get elected and not have a majority, because then we could just do nothing. I need us to unite. If you have godly principles, like I do, unite and stop talking.
All right, so I'm going to pull a little executive privilege here. Mr. Soundman, if you see that flag go up, count 3, and if someone is still speaking, please mute the mic. We are very short on time here. Nope, we have much to do tonight, and we will move through everything that we plan on getting through. And so if there is more you need to hear, you will have the opportunity afterwards to go and speak with the individual candidates. Thank you all. All right, so now is our Q&A time. Again, you will have 2 minutes. This will be random, and we will begin with policy questions. Okay, Albert Loma will take our first question. Albert, what are the 5 liberties? By the way, this is a Ken Davis question. Enjoy it. What are the 5 liberties mentioned within the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution?
I never memorized it, so I had to Google it like everybody else did here. But the most important one is, I know, but the most important one really is the freedom of religion. And I think that what I want to focus on. When I was on the board, I had a fight to keep Reverend Al Loma, because they tried to tell me that I couldn't have Reverend because there was a separation of church and state, and I told them they can kick rocks. I go, that's a lie. There's no law saying that. It's not freedom from religion, and so. But what happens is, because education is dominated by the left, the people at top impose that on you, and they don't want you talking religion or Christianity, but there is no law stating that. So I would fight that, and fortunately, behind closed door, the lawyer conceded, said, you're right, we can't take that from, because I said, if you're going to take off Reverend off of my nameplate, then I want to take doctor off yours, right? And so there are certain rights that we have that, because the system keeps saying it over and over, they think it's true, and it's not true. And we have to stand up. We're so nice. Christians are so nice. We don't want to fight. But the left wants to fight. Well, this pastor wants to fight. I'm going to fight for what is right, what is godly. And that's why I'm coming back into the board.
Number 9, that would be Lauren Nelson. Lauren, how does the Colorado Constitution describe your authority as a part of the District 11 School Board?
Okay.
So the Colorado Constitution spells out that school board members are elected by their local community. It also spells out that the General Assembly nor the State Board of Education shall have the power to prescribe textbooks to be used in public schools. So that means they have no business telling us what curriculum to teach. So the Colorado Constitution, it leaves it really at the local level, which is excellent in my opinion. Let's let the community, the parents, the taxpayers decide what education should look like for their community members. And that is done through an election and representatives of the taxpayers seated on the school board, paying attention to what those taxpayers and parents want them to do with the schools.
Number 2, Tammy Harold. What authority does the superintendent of the school board have over the school board? Please elaborate on the role of the superintendent as it relates to the school board.
Was just going to start talking. So the superintendent does not have any authority over the school board. It is the opposite. The school board has authority over the superintendent. That is their one employee. In a normal school district, in District 49, we have a 3-chief system. So we would have authority over our 3 chiefs. What their job is to manage the district day-to-day operations, but they are responsible to, when there's the school board gives them directive on what they are to be instilling in our staff to teach our kids and what we should be doing day to day. They manage funds, they manage transportation, they are the link between our community and our teachers, but they have to follow what the school board and the community values are, and I don't want to answer the next question, so I'm going to be careful. They have to really do what the school board and the community tells them. They do not have the authority to unilaterally make decisions without consulting with the school board and their community during meetings, and that's where they get their authority, is from the school board.
Number 8, that's John Gustafson. Here we go. Under what circumstances would you vote to terminate your superintendent?
Well, I would like to circle back to the previous question, what authority does the superintendent of the school board have? I would agree with the previous answer. The superintendent works at the pleasure of the school board, so if the superintendent chose to unilaterally go against the wishes of the school board and of the community, I do believe that would be grounds for termination. On a more metaphysical level, I believe that the institution of public education is sacrosanct and should be protected. And whenever a leader of a public institution that cares about education more than anything starts conflating causation with correlation, starts bringing up data points that are impossible to reference, and frankly muddies the water of public education, I would consider that a red flag. And I would want to talk to my community to find out what's going on, because our children are our greatest gift and they are our future. To finally answer that one more time, under what circumstances would you vote to terminate the superintendent? If the superintendent refused to listen to us, the community who cares the most about our children and cares about the future of our children, that would be grounds for termination.
Number 5, Ivy Lou. Given that there are state mandate programs that teach and promote ideology grounded in critical theory, What is your plan to remove them from the schools in your district?
All right. So we went through this, so I can talk, I think, clearly on this. Myself, including John and the two other board members that ended up voting to ban CRT, we each did extensive research. We studied definitions of CRT from both sides, which, as you can guess, is opposite. We made sure that we knew the definition of a CRT, what it is meant to do, and the harms that it could cause our students. So it was not a light decision. We spent many, many hours researching, and that's what a board is supposed to do. Anytime they make a decision on behalf of the stakeholders, it needs to be done with thorough research. And unlike some people accuse us of being political or taking on national issues, we do need to tackle these issues. It is affecting us right here locally. And we cannot ignore it, turn a blind eye to it, because we'll be lying to ourselves and to the stakeholders. Anyway, we ended up with a decision, like as I told you, of 3-2, a very narrow decision. It was much narrower than I liked, because I felt like all of the board members should be on the same page as far as the community goes. And we were not on the same page. I'm not happy with that, but I'm very happy that we were able to pass this ban on the CRT 3-2.
Number 1, Jamie Lynn Diavola. Bible clubs have been taken out of our schools. How will you change the school district's policies to allow full support of the students' constitutional First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and freedom of association?
It is important that all students are able to express their right to create and attend Bible clubs. That's extremely important. That is their right. It's a constitutional guarantee that they are able to express their religious beliefs no matter where they are at. That includes school, that includes in the lunchroom, that includes outside at recess. If they bring a Bible to school and they share it with their friends, that is their right, and we cannot infringe upon that. I've been appalled at some of the things that are being accepted in schools, such as gay and lesbian clubs and things that are going on with that. If they can have a gay and lesbian club, you better believe we can have a Bible club. That's extremely important. And one thing, too, is that John Adams, one of our presidents, he said, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to govern to the government of any other. And we have taken morality out of our public schools, and that has caused a lot of what is happening in our country today. It's my firm belief, because of the lack of character education, that our country has crumbled and is becoming a society of immorality.
Okay, number 7, Sandra Bankus. Did I say it right that time? All right. The National Organization of Public School Boards is calling on the Biden administration to protect its members from angry mobs of parents who protest against COVID-19 restrictions placed on the students and the teaching of critical race theory, characterizing the protests as domestic terrorism. What is your reaction to this suggestion?
I'm glad I got this question, because when I read it the first time, it is a true example of federal government overreaction, large government overreaction, national organizations trying to tell us here with local control what we should and shouldn't do and how we should go about it. With our school boards, with your vote to elect your directors, you are putting forth your values that say, this is what I stand for and this is what I want to have happen. For parents to come and voice their opinion at a school board, you get an opportunity, but it's only a one-way conversation. Where is the dialogue? Where is the opportunity to state your position, listen to a director or the board or the superintendent give their opinion or the direction and based on what they've researched and decided they want to follow? And then where is the continued conversation that develops that into something that moves all of us forward? This is a partnership, and the partnership is seriously lacking in that it's only a one-way conversation. The national organization takes a look and is following an agenda that doesn't apply in District 11 for the majority of us sitting here and for the majority of us who are out talking to people who want a change in this district. It's incumbent upon us to make sure that we stay focused on what's important, and that is student achievement. It is on providing all of our children with an opportunity to be well-rounded. It also means to give them the skills and the mastery in those skills that once they finish school, that they are able to go out and live productive lives and add to this democracy and this representative government. So for the National Board of School Board members, thank you for your opinion, but it doesn't apply here.
Okay, number 4, Fadili. Reading and math scores are abysmal. How would you suggest this be corrected?
I just want to circle back to when candidates are weak on the issues, they find other issues. They make up other issues. And so people are running on ghost issues that did not exist here in D49. They went on a Frankenstein monster witch hunt all summer and took up a lot of the time of the paraprofessionals and instructors for the summer for an issue that did not exist. They lied to you, told you that it was being taught when it was not being taught here in District 49. So I have people trolling me, asking me, I thought you were against CRT. Not so much that I'm for CRT, but I'm against people lying to you. If they're lying to you about that, what else will they lie to you about later? So to answer your question, though, in the time that I have remaining, I recommend surveying the reading and math instructors and learning from them what it is that you don't have that will make you more effective in reaching your students. So now that I've asked a question, I'll continue with this thought. So there are real issues in D49, like hiring, retention. We don't have enough bus drivers, but those issues aren't being addressed. Those wheels aren't being spent. We're spending time developing resolutions to ban something that isn't being taught. While those issues are still here, they're with us in the spring, with us in the summer, they're with us now.
Okay, number 3, Elmer Harris. Parents do not feel the school boards are listening to them. How would you correct this?
One, I don't believe that's true. Parents do have the opportunity to speak to school boards, because one thing I'm concerned about is a narrative that's being pushed, and sometimes a narrative that creates contention between school boards and families, because the people who want parents working with schools more than anyone else are the teachers, are the principals, and the school boards. They want this to happen. Now, it's also a never-ending problem in terms of how do we get families to be involved within schools, because we also have to understand that it must be done in a way that fits in with their lifestyle. So first of all, I wanted to correct that narrative. And something else I want to address is, I'm a Christian. I accepted Christ when I was 12 years old. I was ditching school, watching the 700 Club. So I guess I was convicted and I accepted Christ. But one thing we have to be careful of is when we emphasize the importance or the necessity to bring religion into schools. It's wonderful if your teacher is Miss Jenkins from Wyoming and you hear that she led your class in a prayer. Now, what if your child's teacher is Mr. Muhammad from Iraq and he led them in a prayer? Would you approach those individuals in the same manner? I think not. So being a Christian, I understand the importance of Christian values, but I also think we have to be very careful about what we're trying to do within schools, because the separation of church and state is there for a reason. In that clear example I gave you in terms of how some of you would react differently if your child went home saying they were led in a prayer by Mr. Muhammad versus Mrs. Jenkins, you would react differently. So that's why we have a separation of church and state.
All right, I will mute all of your mics. All right, last but not least, Lori Thompson, you ready? How should the Colorado school districts determine what should be taught and what shouldn't be taught?
I kind of feel lucky because I get to circle back a lot here. My name is Lori. I guess I am a domestic terrorist. I want to go back to free speech. And the answer to speech you don't like is more speech. And I feel like what the Biden administration is currently starting to do right now is to have a chilling effect on what people say. Now, don't get me wrong, no parent should ever threaten a school board member. But things like that should be handled by local law enforcement, not the FBI. And so, I would also like to address student-led religious groups. It's very interesting because this has gone before the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled for a Christian youth group in a church-state battle over whether religious groups must be allowed to meet in public schools after class hours. By letting other groups use the school after hours, the school officials created a public forum, the court found. Now, this is a quote from Justice Clarence Thomas. When Milford denied the Good News Club access to the school's limited public forum on the grounds that the club was religious in nature, it discriminated against the club because its religious viewpoint in violation of the free speech clause of the First Amendment. And so I just think it's very important to have student-led groups, and if they allow other groups, they should allow that. As far as determining what the schools should teach, I think that was my question. We have to listen to our stakeholders. We have to listen to our teachers. We have to look, once again, at educational foundations. We do have state standards that we have to meet, but we have to be very careful of what the state tries to impose on us. We must be judicious, we must review it, and we must be wise. And so the most important thing we can teach our kids is how to be good citizens, how to master the basics in education to better prepare them for a future, because they are our employees, our employers, and they are our fellow citizens. So we have to put students first, always.
Okay, now is character questions. Once again, you will have 2 minutes. I want to implore those of you that are out in the crowd to not heckle, especially if you're going to attempt to heckle me. There's people in the room with guns, and they are here for me to protect me, just so you know. So, yeah, they're the hecklers. So, outside of that, for you out in the crowd, it is really incumbent upon you to do your due diligence. You need to go to these candidates' websites. When you get the opportunity to go speak to them out at the tables, please take the time to research and get to know who these candidates are as you make your decisions when it comes to turning in your ballots. So now we'll go on to our character questions. I can't do that again. Shuffle.
It's because it was the same one as last time. I just want this to be fair.
Okay. All right, number 9. I drew number 10 last time, and I didn't feel like that would have been fair. So, number 9, Lauren Nelson. How do you handle confrontation?
That's a good question. Very first and foremost, you need to go into confrontation with an attitude of grace and remembering that we're all human and we all make mistakes and that we are all due respect and love. So that being said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and that's for a reason. We need to listen first before we speak. Be, quick to listen, slow to anger, slow to speak. So approaching confrontation is sometimes going to mean taking deep breaths and taking a step back and trying to understand the other person's perspective and seeking to reach a middle ground that we can come together to find a solution that works for all involved.
Okay, number 8, John Gustafson. What experience have you had that will make you an effective school board member?
Well, apart from I've always had going to city council meetings, school board meetings, things like that, that they always interest me. I think that the power that I most bring to the table is my passion and my perception. You know, I'm passionate about D11 because I have little kids in the district. I want those kids to matriculate through the district, to graduate in this district. I want them to live in this town and be leaders in this town. I want all of the kids that live in this district to also be leaders in this town. I think it's very important. You know, apart from that, could you repeat it one more time? I got so passionate about my perceptive abilities, I kind of lost track. No, forgive me, I'm back on track now. Forgive me, everybody. But getting back to the perception. You know, it's true that I was born in this town, but I moved away to northern Wyoming when I was 2 years old and spent a long time there and in eastern Colorado, and came back 8 years ago to start my family with my wife. I believe that this outside of the establishment view has given me an ability to see with clarity what's going on in our district and to possibly have solutions to move forward. I want to get back to this current school board has been working at this challenge for 4 years. The low test scores for 4 years, the dropping enrollment for 4 years. You know, what do I bring to the table? First of all, I bring my blue-collar sensibilities. I bring a willingness to listen to everybody, because it is important to listen to everybody with respect and understanding, because at the end of the day, we really are all in this together. I care so much about the school district, I think it's important, if we need to sometimes eat humble pie. I'm willing to eat 4 or 5 helpings of humble pie if it would help one kid one time. Thank you very much.
Number 1, Jamie Lynn Diavola. And I do want to remind those of you that may have not been here earlier, they were not given the character questions ahead of time. So these are complete surprise questions for them. What guides your decision making?
That's a very important question. What guides my decision making is my relationship with the Lord. It's extremely important for me to be aligned with what He is calling me to do. That includes being mindful in prayer and fervent in reading my Bible. That is the number one thing that leads my decision making. Also, being able to talk to my husband, receiving advice from him, because it's very important to have unity with the person that you're married to. So it's very important for us to have that relationship. When it comes to the role of the school board, part of my decision making as well is going to be my colleagues, the people that I'm working with, the school board members, the teachers, the community members, the parents, the people that we're in contact with, to listen to their concerns, to hear what they have to say, to come to a decision making that's what's best for students. So when it comes to my role as a school board member, it's going to come down to what's best for the kids. We need to stay focused on finding that common ground, even if we have very differing opinions or differing ideas or backgrounds. So it all comes down to, is this what's best for kids? Are we on the right track? If it's not what's best for students, we shouldn't be doing it.
Okay, number 5, Ivy Lou. What are your core values?
Well, I found Jesus later on in life. It wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I found Jesus. And I wonder, at the old age now that I'm at, how I ever survived the first 30 years. But honestly, He was there when I wasn't aware of Him. I'm serious as a heart attack. I made decisions in my younger parts of my life that I would have never made on my own if it weren't for the power of God. I just didn't know He was standing right next to me. So seriously, in the last 30-something years or so, I raised my whole family on God, not apologetic about it even when attacked. everything that we decide within the family and also outside the family and how we treat one another within the family and outside the family is based on the principles of God. Obviously, we're not perfect. We fail. But anytime we do fail, we turn back to our grounding principles and realize where we could grow. So all of my values are based on Christ Jesus, my Lord. And again, I fail at times, but it is what I turn back to, and it's what I turn to when I try to make decisions for the board and what's good for the kids. And I feel like this country was founded on God, and we need to return to God.
Number 7, Sandra Bankus. Will government funding direct your decision making?
I had said this earlier in a different forum, and that is the bravest superintendent that I have ever met was Dr. Ken Vedra when I was in District 20. Mandates came down from the state. We as a district did not agree with those mandates, and he told them to keep their money, and we didn't follow whatever we were being mandated to do. I have not met anyone so far, before or after, who was brave enough to take that position. It seems that money drives decision making, and it's unfortunate because it's not always in our best interest. The earlier question about the National Organization of School Board Members, same thing. What's good for us as reasonable, intelligent people makes a difference for us in the community in which we want to live. So mandates that come with money, it would be a great opportunity for us to really go back to the core values that we're talking about and saying, is this something that we can agree to whether or not we get the money? If we don't get the money, let's use our creative juices and let's figure out how we can continue to provide for our students and provide the best education that we possibly can, because that's what's important for us, for our community, and for our kids.
Number 10, Albert Loma. What is your strategy to implement your ideas when you're the lone vote?
My strategy to implement my ideas when I'm the lone vote. And that means I'm king. Ooh. Well, you know, the first strategy that I would look at when I look at the school district is the reading and writing, and the math levels. And I proposed this in 2009, and they all looked at me like I laughed. They said, "Oh, we can't do this." And I said, "It's very simple. I used to be a photocopier repairman, and when you solve a problem, you don't look at the problem. You look at the input. And when you look at the input of our schools, the vast majority of our children can't read or do math. And so what the school district spins their wheels is they're trying to fix this problem by putting a program in middle school, putting a program in high school. When the input keeps coming in sour, I would propose that we would flip first through fourth grade and make every teacher an English and math professional, so that by fifth grade, 100% reading and math proficiency could happen. And we could do that in 2 years if they would have listened and just did that. But no, they played games, and how these programs, or retired principal would come in and have a new program that wouldn't work, but they'd give them $100,000 to do this program that was useless, because they're handing money back and forth like they're good old boys, and none of it worked. Why? Because 10 years later, we're still doing that. We're actually worse now. So if I was a lone vote, I'd say all our resources from 1 to 4, and if the superintendent couldn't get 100% reading and math, I'd fire him. That's one reason why I'd fire him, because they're not doing their job. And right now, they've been not doing their job for decades, not just 10 years. When I was on the board, we've subtracted $25 million from the budget over 3 years. And you know what happened? Nothing changed. That's amazing to me. What were they doing with $25 million? Playing, oh, you got me.
My 3-second rule worked. Okay, number 4, Fidel Lee. What role do parents play in your decision making?
Softball, I appreciate that one. So obviously, parents supersede the decisions that teachers have, that schools have, that superintendents have, that school districts have. So, I mean, I'm a firm believer in parent choice and that parents know what's best for their children. And this isn't just stuff I'm making up, but I happen to be a parent myself. So I know that I'd like to think that I know what's best for our children than a teacher who they don't go home to, who they spend a couple hours with during the day. But I just want to come back to something. So just in terms of decision making, in terms of compass, what guides you, what drives you, I've been I hear a lot of references to Martin Luther King, and that's fine. And I just want to say, as a law enforcement officer, as a police officer, I'm still waiting to be judged, not by the color of my skin when I'm not in uniform, but by the content of my character when I'm not in uniform. I just want to say that. So the remarks towards social justice, why do we have it? Why are we talking about it? That's why we're talking about it. Because it does make a difference. And so when you're in the classroom and you're instructing people and you're a teacher and you have a charge over these people, they don't need your biases. They need your compassion, they need your knowledge, they need your professionalism, and they need your expertise.
Okay, number 6, Lori Thompson. Who are your major financial backers?
I am my best donor. My husband has done pretty well. And I have worked with professional organizations like Pikes Peak Association of Realtors and the Home Builders Association. I have a wonderful widow that just called me and wanted to send me a check because she liked my signs, and we had a lovely conversation. So I am my #1 donor. But can I circle back to any of the other ones? Because they were really good, I was really blessed to be raised with a foot in 2 cultures. My mother is Hispanic, my father is white. So I put the grin in gringo and the panic in Hispanic. I hope that I will always see my fellow human beings as children of the same God. And on my census form, I really did check other, and I wrote human. So we can disagree, we can have different opinions on different issues, but whatever our differences are, we better figure them out, because we're all going to be in heaven together if we're followers of Christ. So if there's a difference of opinion, listening, sharing, and having respect is so incredibly important, but it's also important to stand for what you believe in. And that's very important for me, to stand for what I believe in. So I just want you to know that I have met so many wonderful people along this journey, and no matter what happens, I do not regret my decision to run for school board. And I've really enjoyed meeting all of you, so I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Okay, number 2, Tammy Harold. What is the main reason you decided to run for school board? What is the main reason you decided to run for school board?
Well, to begin with, years ago, my main reason was because parents were not being heard in our district. And like Lori, we came together and as a community and flipped our board, which was wonderful. We have had a very stable board, and we have been making gains in our district. At this point, I saw that we had a dip in scores. That concerned me. I saw that there was a sentiment out there that was negative toward our teachers, and I am a big proponent of supporting our teachers. And if I ever feel like they are not doing what the community wants, then I will go to the school board and express my opinion, which is what has been happening now. And I want to continue that open dialogue. I want it to be respectful on both sides. And right now we have been polarized in our communities, and our kids don't need us to be on one side or the other. They need us to figure out how to make it better for them as they move forward in our society, which has gotten, like I keep saying, polarized. We need to come together to figure out how to educate them on their basics and get them to be productive adults in society. So my main goal to come on the board, and I don't disagree with my opponent on a lot of issues, parent involvement, parent choice. I'm very pro for parent choice. I agree with we need to get back to our basics. We need to increase our test scores and our educational. Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, Mr. Elmer Harris. What is a weakness that you have?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A weakness that I have is, let me think about this and be honest in the same time, is perhaps dwelling on issues, and not in a way where anyone knows that I'm dwelling on. I'll hear something, I'll take something in, and I just think deeply about that. And one example that comes to mind is when I was teaching 5th grade. I came back from a day in DC, and you know how it is when you come back and the sub has a report of something that happened within your classroom. And what happened was, one of my students, D, said to his friend M, "Black people can't speak English." And I guess I took it personally because I said, "D, look at your teacher. You know, how could you say such a thing?" So we had a conversation, and I think it's important that we address these things in a way that does not do harm. One student was already harmed, so it was not my role to harm the other student. And also taking into consideration that, you know, I did not say to myself, well, perhaps he heard something from his parents, because everyone can attest that our children do things that are out of character from what we teach them. But when that ended, I dwelled on that for such a long time. You know, was there anything in my teaching, was there anything in terms of how I tried to create community within my classroom that would let a student think that it was okay for him to say that to his friend? So you begin to question your effectiveness as a teacher, but then again, you just have to self-talk, because I think anytime we're too confident in terms of our ability, then we don't have room to grow. So in terms of a weakness, that it is for me. You know, if something does not necessarily go right, I tend to dwell on it. No one knows that I'm dwelling on it, but it's something that I just take in deeply, and I try to figure out what can I do to make sure this does not happen again.
All right, and just so you know, I don't take credit for anything that my children do that is out of character. I would blame my wife, but she's sitting here, so I won't do that. I will blame social media. All right, so thank you all. As I've mentioned earlier, any additional Q&A will be handled out in the hallway. If you've got questions for them, we're going to release them early so that they can get to their tables. Don't go chasing them right away. I have some announcements that I'd like to run through. So again, give our forum candidates a hand.